So, very good evening to all the learned conveners of NTAC. Today, I will be sharing with you some of my thoughts about the Saraswati River, which is the cradle of Indian civilization. The whole story of Saraswati with me started way back in 2005, and in 2007, in Kurukshetra University, we opened our first Saraswati River System lab. And we continued to work with the different governments of Haryana. And it was in 2014, first time that INTAC bestowed on me the scholarship for working on Saraswati River. And that was the turning point because till this point we were working just like that without any funds from anywhere. So that was a turning point in the study of Saraswati River. And the increase in knowledge post-INTAC scholarship and setting up of Center of Excellence for Research on Saraswati River, which is funded by Haryana government. It's a phenomenal thing, which I think is the pride of the entire nation, because we all as Indians have worshipped goddess Saraswati both in the form of a deity and as well as in the form of a river. And all of us have a reverence for this river system. So our collaborators in this research are Indian Space Research Organization, Geological Survey of India, Archaeological Survey, Central Groundwater Board, and Oil and Natural Gas Commission. So this was the state of knowledge before 2014, even till 2017. This was the state of knowledge that this that you're seeing between, near Marot. So that was the Saraswati River that was given to us by Indian Space Research Organization. And once we started working on it, we got many new things. But before I start on the entire Saraswati saga, let me share with you that what is the current international rhetoric on it. First is that this river is mythical. Second, it is, even if there is some channel, it is the old channel of Satluj and the Tons River. And then, okay, agreed that there was something, but that is Ghaggar. And Ghaggar River is a torrential river. So Saraswati was only a tributary to this river. So Saraswati River never had any of the glacial inputs with it. All narrative that was built up just to um, minimize the Indian civilization. Then another thing, that this river dried up 5,000 years ago. Some of these points would be that you have already heard in the mainstream media. Then the Harappan civilization, which flourished from 3300 to 1300 BC. So when the Saraswati was dried up river 5,000 years ago, so there's no chance that Harappan civilization could have been benefited by this river system. So that is, in fact, a point that all the this Aryan invasion theory protagonists, they say that this is because of this that this thing happened. And then in order to fortify the arguments, they say that all the Harappan archaeological sites, they are 70 to 90 kilometers away from Ghaggar-Hakra channel. So once we know that these Harappans were mainly agrarian civilization, so the question of Ghaggar, Hakra, or for that matter, Saraswati being beneficial to these Harappan sites is just out of question. And then the factors that these narrative building people, they cite for Saraswati River disappearance are tectonism, river capture, melting of glaciers, climate change, drought. And the best part, which I will discuss after a few slides, is that all these factors which we are viewing on our screens at the moment, these factors are not something which happens in an area of the order of 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers or 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. These are huge things, and these things happen on a regional scale. So I'll just come back to it. So I showed you what we had the information in 2017, a small tubular thing called Saraswati. And this is how, after the intact grant and the Harappan and this Haryana government grant, this is the blue thing that your blue lines that you are seeing. These are the paleo channels or the old flow path of the Saraswati River that we have worked out. So you can see how magnificent this river system was. And as we move ahead, the first and the foremost question comes that we are not able to take care of our present day rivers. We are not able to clean them. We have been hearing about cleaning of Ganga, cleaning of Yamuna, and many rivers across the country. So what is the need of doing research on a long lost river? So to that, now these we have a lot of historical written evidence, textual evidence that Vedas were composed on the banks of this river system. And in Rig Veda also, many times this river system has been mentioned in its varied facets. While some of the verses talk about Saraswati as a deity, and the others, they also talk about Saraswati as a river system. So if we are able to date the evolutionary history of this river system, since we know that in Rig Veda, this river system was in its drying up phase, then perhaps we can also try to link up to some extent the time period when probably the Vedas could have been heard, because basically Rig Vedas, these were a Shruti thing that in very later part of history these were written down. So this, once we are able to do this, then we will be able to narrow down, of course, with the other documented things, that we will be able to scientifically authenticate the primordial nature of the Vedic Indian civilization. Besides that, the major things that are there is that we in Haryana and around entire country, in fact, we are facing huge water scarcity. So can these old river channels be used for mitigating water scarcity? And then one more thing, that once a huge river flows over different terrains, it picks up some of the minerals. Some of those are metallic as well and are of interest. And these would be huge placer mineral deposits. In fact, this interest came up because Geological Survey of India they did a gravimetric survey, and they were able to identify these deposits very near to the Saraswati channel in Haryana. So in this graphic, which I picked up from the internet, we are seeing the sphere of influence of the Harappan civilization. So the ancient Indus civilization. So the most important question that came to my mind is that this sphere is in fact the sphere of water that was present, because basically uh, all these earlier habitations, they were agrarian and mercantile as well. So if they were agrarian, there would have been lots of water. So has all this water gone down into the ocean and we have lost it, or still There are millions and millions cubic meters of this water locked deep down within the earth, waiting to be explored to mitigate the water scarcity that we are facing today. So coming back to what does the our oldest text say? Rig Veda has a couplet: Ambitame, Naditame, Devitame, Saraswati. So Saraswati has been eulogized as best of mothers, best of rivers, best of goddesses. And Saraswati in different couplets, it has been mentioned around 78 times in Rig Veda. Just suggesting that a lot of emphasis was put on this river system by the rishis who composed it. And then we try to work out that where was this river flowing so that we could work out the geography of early Vedic civilization. And to our help came the 10th book of Rig Veda, which has a Nadi Stuti Sukt 10.75. And in this sukt, it is written that the order in which the rivers are, it is Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Satluj, Ravi, Chenab, Jhelum, Byas, and Indus. So that means that if we have to search for Saraswati river, we have to search for it within Yamuna, within the interfluvial region of Yamuna and the Satluj rivers. And here I would like to just request you to recollect the earlier slide, which said that tectonism and then this climate change, then glacier melting, and other reasons were given for the loss of this river system. Now, all of you, majority of you are not geologists, but still all of us can visualize very well that was the glacier not melting for Yamuna? Was it not melting for Satluj? Was it not melting for Ravi? And if the drought was there, was the drought not for the other river systems? So when all other river systems are there as such, what happened to the Saraswati river? Why was this river only lost and nothing else? Because even if we talk about river capture, that river capture is also due to tectonism, and that tectonism is always regional. So had it been for Saraswati, it would have been for other rivers also in different manner. So, and even after river capture, the channel would have remained and some water would have remained in it. But that is not the case with Saraswati. So what happened to this river system? That was the basic question on which we started working. So this is the terrain between the Satluj and the Yamuna River, where we started searching for the Saraswati River. Of course, with all the information that was already available. Now, I perceive archaeological sites as the presence of water and the presence of an environment that is conducive to growth. And when we talk about Haryana, the major archaeological sites I have listed, including Rakhigadi. So all these sites in Haryana, and there are numerous sites in Jind and other parts of Haryana, which talk about that perhaps this was a area where lots and lots of people used to live in different clusters. When we try to plot these archaeological sites on the paleo channels, these red dots are the old habitation sites. So what you see is that they have predominant concentration along the Saraswati channel. So going by what our research was giving the results, including the intact reports that we gave in, Government of Haryana in 2015 started the Saraswati Rejuvenation Project, and all the paleo channels that we had identified, Government of Haryana got the old revenue records worked out, and on the basis of those revenue records, they started digging up those channels to make a model Saraswati canal type of thing, because a river is very difficult to replicate. So they started digging a channel, and they wanted to put in water, and this project is still going on. And initially, what happened that there was a village in Jamnanagar called Mughalwali, and in this channel, paleo channel, water was found at a depth of 8 feet. So when we went there, we talked to the Sarpanch of that village. He said that the water is at 8 feet. I said, how do we know it is at 8 feet? So this gentleman said that, well, I am 6 feet. I am standing in this water. Now you can see how at what depth the water is there. And this water that you are seeing now, this is not a perched water table. It is still there. And when we move about 300, 400 meters left or right of this site, again the water level goes down. So this is a paleo channel that you are seeing, paleo channel with water at a depth of 7 to 8 feet. And this paleo channel is of the erstwhile Saraswati River. However, the water that we are seeing here, this is not the old Saraswati water. This is the percolated rainwater. And when all this started, there was a huge media coverage, and many different news houses, they came in, including this gentleman. And what we saw beneath the agricultural fields was some features like this, wherein you can see the laminations, and you can see these very small, very thin, layer by layer deposition by rivers, including this mega class. This pen has been put here as a scale so that because we can magnify an image any amount. So with this, you can relate to what is the actual size of the things that you are viewing on your screen. And these are some things which are called as current wedding. All these features that you are seeing, they are indicative of layer by layer deposition by some fluvial activity. Here again, you are seeing these beddings, different types of. Here you are seeing these cross beddings, these lines you are seeing in different directions. The bottom ones are horizontal, then inclined in one direction, then another. So all these indicative of the various energy of the fluvial regime that was there. Then in our work, Central Groundwater Board is also putting in, and these are the channels that they identified, and they carried out an electric survey, and on the basis of it, all the blue deposits, blue color that you are seeing, this is the huge sand deposit that is there at Pipli in Kurukshetra, indicative of the presence of a huge river deposit. This is the 3D aquifer system that they worked out, the Saraswati River system aquifer. And then ONGC also chipped in, and they drove in deep wells to find out more about the Saraswati Paleo Channel water. And these are the trenches that we got dug. These vary in depth from 2 meters to 10 meters at different locations, and we could see uh, sand, mud interlayering, and sand having quite some micaceous material with it. This is an old vandalized site of Saraswati riverbed. This is near Kurukshetra. So this is my team of scholars with whom I work. So these are some of the, and this is a pit at Rakhi Gadi, different civilizational levels you are seeing. And this one we got dug at Rakhi Gadi, and you are able to see some bone fragments jetting out of it. And the locals are finding these type of pots in abundance. However, as just Dr. Hazarika was saying that these people, they are not willing to share even their finds with us. They feel that once Rakhi Gadi goes on international map, then foreigners will be coming and giving handsome amounts for these. So this is one such story. This is another site, Meetathal, where we could get beads and other things. And this is how we work. We engage a JCB machine, get a thing dug up, and usually we have a thick clay deposit measuring about 2 to 3 meters, and after that we start getting sand, riverine sand, and we also get numerous these shila lakes. And this is a view just to show you how wide the floodplain is. This is the Somme River, and in fact, this white pebble retaining wall that is there, if that this is also removed, then it's about 2 to 3 kilometers wide. This very river, which at the moment is a rain-fed river. So we can as a geologists, we can well envision that whatsoever we are seeing today is something which in past was an entirely different picture. Something happened, and then all these things are taking place. These are some of the pictures. And while working, we went till Anupgarh and further beyond till Indo-Pakistan border. This is one of the trenches that we got dug in Anupgarh. And again, some of the close-up of some of the trenches where you can see the different layerings, and all these layerings, all this study. And just in 2022, we had this research work published wherein we could identify another channel, the older channel of the Saraswati River, which passes through Sambhar Lake and then Pushkar and then goes down into falls into the Gulf of Khambat. And interestingly, what we observe is it passes through Lothal as well. And interestingly, what we observe is that perhaps the oldest human civilization that has been dated till date, that is in Indian context, it is the Narmada Valley, where we have a scenario that was similar to middle Shivaliks, which we have in these frontal Shivalik hills. We have rhinoceros, hippopotamus, and all those things. They were spread throughout the country. In Narmada Basin, we have the same uh, fauna. Similarly, in the frontal Shivaliks, we have the same fauna. So it's just something amazing. And then we try to work out what is the breadth of these individual channels. And it was a whopping 1.86 kilometers to around 13 kilometers. So the individual channels are that broad. Even in the present day, if we look at the deltaic regions, we are not able to get that broad channels. So when we plotted all these channels on the map of Haryana, what we saw was something amazing, that there is hardly any district. You can see here, starting from Kurukshetra, Yamunanagar, Kaithal, Karnal, Panipat, Sonipat, Rohtak, Bhiwani, Hisar. You name a district and you have the Saraswati channel. And then all these brown dots that you are seeing, these are the minor archaeological sites. And the triangles that you are seeing, these are the major archaeological sites, including Rakhi Gadi, Farmana, Bidhana, Kunal, and other sites elsewhere. So all these sites, as you are able to see, these fall on the Saraswati paleo channels. Initially, the narrative that I discussed with you was that all the Harappan archaeological sites, they are 70 to 80 kilometers away from these paleo channels. Wherein here in this graphic, which has been made with complete honesty, what you are seeing is that all these sites fall right on the paleo channels. And even if some sites are just a little bit off mark, we try to work out they are not more than 500 meters from the paleo channels. So that's the part of the narrative, that is international narrative, that has been built up about this river system, which we were able to bust mainly because of the funding that we got from Intac. And I am extremely grateful to our chairman, Major General Gupta Sahab, who gave me this scholarship so that I could work out. And later on, our chapter's director Sahab, he also, Shuklaji, he also helped me in working seamlessly for this work. And this is the hexagonal, the pentagonal things that you are seeing here. These are the trench locations. So we got the trenches done on different paleo channels, so that there's no bias in our approach. And what we found was something amazing. These are the trench logs that you are seeing. And the upper portion, the yellow colored one, that is the clay deposit. And the lower granular things that you are seeing, these are the different types of sand deposits. Some fine, some medium, some coarse sand deposits. Now, the most interesting part is that what we observe is that suddenly all the sand stops and clays start, and they accumulate. Now, in a natural setting, this type of thing does not happen. It's a gradual shift that you will be getting sand, clay, sand, clay, sand, clay, and slightly the sand beds will start getting thinner and the clay beds getting thicker. But here, nothing of this sort we are viewing. Sand is there, immediately cut off, and clay starts. And this is one thing. These arrows that you are seeing here, this is the point where the natural sedimentation ended at this and then after that this channel became a surface overflow or runoff channel. And these are the other things that you are seeing. So what we observed was that Saraswati River in Haryana was flowing until 1402 AD. Now, what the narrative was, that this river stopped flowing 5,000 years ago. And what the reality is, that this river was flowing till the beginning of the 15th century. So this was one thing. And then when we try to work out that what happened to this river system, why at all did it disappear, what was the factors, then we came to know that this was not a natural calamity of any sort. That we came to know that starting from 14,000, 1340, 14,000, that time the rulers that were there was one ruler, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Then later on the Britishers came, and later on also there were many attempts that the major input channels in the foothill region, they were diverted to the Yamuna river system, so that water could Firoz Shah did it because he wanted water to go to two new towns that he had established. One was Fatehbad in Haryana, the other was parts of Hisar, which had very scanty rainfall, and there was a water shortage. So his endeavor fell heavy on the Saraswati River, as all the input channels, they were diverted. And later on, when British came, they also did this numerous times. Even if some of the conveners want, they can look up the internet, the Townsend report put by Townsend, and then there was a Wapco's report. They talk about how many times this river system was engineered so that water could be used at a different location. And then when we were just talking about that we have done great things. Someone said that there are lots of bathing ghats as well. So why don't you plot those bathing ghats on your map and see what is the story? And what we saw was simply amazing. All the bathing ghats are on this river system only. And then the best part is that these bathing ghats, had the river been a dried up thing 5,000 years ago, for 5,000 years, you cannot preserve a bathing ghat that you are able to see even today. So it would have been completely dilapidated. People would have taken all those bricks and built their houses and all those things. So today, what we are seeing is very good bathing ghats. Of course, the water is not there. But one thing is sure that this river was not extinct in 5,000 years ago by any stretch of imagination. It was there till 14th century AD only, 15th century beginning. Then while we were doing some research, we found a confluence of three paleo channels. We couldn't make much out of it. Then somebody told us that there was a sangam of three rivers, Aruna, Varuna, and Saraswati, that is written in Shri Vaman Puran. So when we looked up that, then we went to the field to check out what is there, where we have this on the imagery, and we found something like this. This is my team from Saraswati board. They also came in. So we found a Tulsi pot sort of thing here and one of the steps. Then we asked the people to just clear these away. And what we found was something even amazing. We had 12 or 13 steps that were there. And all these steps are made up of lime mortar. And you can see how do they look like. It appears that yesterday or day before yesterday, some mason has come and made it. They were all there, and it's mentioned in Vaman Puran. And when we try to work out, even if some of you can observe here, that the big pedestals that are there, if in the first big pedestal someone stands, his feet will be in water. And where this gentleman is sitting, if somebody stands here, the water will be at his chest height. You can see the level of beds that are there. So such great architects that who took care of everything till with what depth the river was there and how these have to be made. And these are the different layers that are there. We are working on it. And when we try to work out what was the old revenue record saying about it, we found that old revenue record also said that this is Gair Mumkin Sangam Zameen. So Sangam was already there on the revenue record. Nobody has claimed it. No Patwari had the balls to say, this is this man's land or that man's land. That is still there. And all this record is 1905 and earlier. So this another site we saw. And on this site, this was an old paleo channel of the Saraswati river system. So we are building a huge pond here where extra river water can be put during monsoon season. And since the this soil is like this, that howsoever amount of water you may put in, it will immediately go down. So this we are using as a natural sink for all the extra water that is there, so that the groundwater can be recharged. So this we are putting in all sorts of machinery to get it done, of course, with the help of Haryana government. This is a close-up wherein again you are seeing very beautiful current and cross bedding indicative of the flow of a deposition from a major mega river system. And then ONGC, who worked with us, they got deep wells dug. And what we got was that two of the wells, they have glacial water, water dating to 10,000 and 15,000 years ago water that is there. That is definitely glacial, number one. Number two, the cumulative water production from these is 7,60,000 liters per hour. So meaning thereby that once we talk about water thing. These paleo channels of the Saraswati River and its associated deeper aquifers have lots of water waiting to be explored and exploited. We published this research paper, which was published in Journal of Archaeological Prospection. It's a wildlife journal, and in this we have acknowledged that the funds for this research were received from Intact, and we are extremely grateful to Intact for this. One more thing, uh, all of us have heard about the Bronze Age, and all of us know that bronze is an alloy of copper, lead, and zinc. India had the sole knowledge about smelting of zinc for about 5,000 years. So the entire Bronze Age is uh, entire Bronze Age goes to India because zinc was from India only. It was from Zawar in Udaipur that through the Saraswati navigable channels, this zinc was transported throughout the world. And in fact, uh, what we see on the internet, Wikipedia, what we see is that the contribution of our country to the world GDP was 30% till first century AD, and it went to about 24% by 700 or 1000 AD. So all this was due to the presence of navigable waterways. And of those navigable waterways, that of the Saraswati River in North India was something to reckon with. And as we lost this river system after the 14th century, our GDP also went down. Of course, there are a host of other factors as well. But as a Saraswati protagonist, I am talking about Saraswati and GDP. Thank you so very much for a patient hearing.